Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Antony Schreurs to talk about some developments that have occurred in this last week and the last couple days, namely the Josh McDaniels debacle that occurred in Indianapolis, where he said he was coaching, but what he really meant was, I'm going to bring in an entire staff together and just go back to New England as an offensive coordinator. So, again, this was a shocker that came out the other day. Very much just not a good situation for the Colts whatsoever. Just give me your thoughts on how that went down.
I think that's... it really looks bad on his part. First off, I think the mistake Indianapolis did is, first off, they wanted Josh McDaniels as a head coach. He's proven before that it's not really his thing. In Denver, if you remember, he was just not a very good head coach. It's not his thing. And that doesn't mean that he can't coach football well. He's a pretty good offensive coordinator, as we can see. But that doesn't mean you can coach, a whole entire football team. That is a big, big deal. And clearly he doesn't really have it in him because he didn't even want to take the job. Which I can kind of see why, because you're going from the Patriots to the Colts. But ultimately, if you're the kind of guy who doesn't want to be a head coach, and you've done it before, then I just don't think you're made for it. Ultimately, I think the Colts made a mistake by even thinking that he was that type of material. But I think that he's I think he permanently put a stamp that I don't think he'll ever be hired for a head coaching job in the NFL. I don't think so.
I absolutely agree. He's not going to. The only head coaching job he's going to get is in New England. And
I don't even think they'd give him the job.
Well, here's the thing. Why else would you bring him back?
Because he's a good offensive coordinator.
But here's the thing. Would you go... You have the opportunity to go get paid in Indianapolis as the head coach, and from what I was hearing, it was almost John Gruden money. It was almost up there in that range.
That's a lot of money.
Why would you go back to New England as the offensive coordinator when you could have taken the head coaching job? And a lot of people were saying...
For some people, it isn't the money, though.
That's
true. First off, I'm sure he's got plenty.
He said it was his... He was a family decision, and mainly he didn't want to leave because he's 4 kids and whatever, and I get that completely. But
I can't relate, but yes, I can see that.
But the only problem I have with that is...
Why would you even take the deal in the first place?
Why did you bring in other coordinators and other assistant coaches?
But why would you even take the deal in the first place if you're seriously doubtful?
No, because here's what happened. They hired him, but because of the rule with playoff teams and coaches that are on playoff teams, they can't officially be hired until that team's out of the playoffs.
It's like a handshake agreement.
Yeah. He came in for what everyone thought was a second interview, but he was already hired, and he was signing off on assistant coaches that he wanted to bring in. And a lot of those assistant coaches have already signed contracts with the Colts prior to McDaniels backing out. One of them was the linebackers coach in Dallas. So you had the linebackers coach in Dallas move his family to Indy, only for the head coach you thought you were going to work for turn down the job last second.
I think that really speaks volumes as who he is. That's affecting people's lives. You're having people think that they're going to get a job, moving their families, and then you turn back on your deal. I think that really speaks volume about who he is. And I think it's... there are certain terms I would use not on the show to explain that.
Yeah.
That is not good. Like I said, I cannot foresee an NFL team picking him up as a head coach ever again. Not in the foreseeable future. And overall, I don't think he's a head coach. There are some great... there's a lot of examples in history of guys who were great defensive or offensive coordinators or other positions. And they can't be a head coach. It's just it is what it is. Ultimately, at the end of the day.
Now, the Colts are not getting rid of the coaches that they've already signed a contract,
which is good.
Assistant coaches,
which is
so
good.
They're keeping them. But if you're a guy that's wanting to be a head coach, you can't do this to people. And you can't say "Oh yeah, I'm bringing you on.
You have to be all in. You have to be.
Sorry, I'm going. And I liked the GM's press conference, and he's all sitting there. He's like, yeah, he called me, said, I got some bad news for you. He's like, okay, all I need is a one-word answer, yes or no, are you in? And they like spent a few minutes exchanging it, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not accepting the job." And he's like, and the GM's like, "All right, good luck to you. I do not want a guy that's not 100% committed because we have work to do." I'm like, I completely understand.
Oh,
that.
Of course, you need a guy who's first off as a football. I played football for 5 years. I played 3 in high school, and I played 2 before I was in high school. I can say this: you don't want your coach to be doubtful like that. I mean, you want him to be all in, 24/7. And if Josh McDaniels isn't that way, I mean, he can't even coach a college team if you're going to act like that.
But
you can't.
As the story goes, though, he was packing up his office in the Patriots facility when Robert Kraft, the owner, and from what people are saying, Bill Belichick approached him, and they had like a 4-hour discussion about it. He went to talk to his family and decided, you know what, I'm going to stay here in New England. So, again, I don't know if this is a rivalry, Patriots rivalry thing.
That's kind of old, though. That's not really modern. I mean, I don't even think
it's not old. I mean, the GM's like, Rever's back on. So
okay, but the thing is that the players from those teams are gone.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Reggie Wayne is the only one I could think of.
But the memories from those teams, he's not playing either.
Yeah, he's not playing either.
But the memories of that rivalry are still very much alive.
Yeah, no. You know, it just speaks volume about who Josh McDaniels is, and he, like I said, he's not head coach material to me. He's not.
Agree.
Yeah, no. I mean, after Denver, I would say that I think his chances of being an NFL head coach were pretty slim. And then I think this was probably the nail in the coffin, as they would say, and I just don't think it's going to be happening for him anytime soon.
I mean, but then again, you look at it, and I would say this: he would have had Andrew Luck as his quarterback, and
I mean, that's nothing to look down upon.
That's not at all. But I mean, think about the quarterbacks he had when he was head coach. I mean, Tim Tebow. I mean,
no, he didn't have Tebow.
Yeah, he did.
No, John Fox had Tebow.
Well, he did too, but he had him at first. Then he got fired for cheating. Remember?
Oh yeah, he had him for like a week, dude. That don't count.
Yeah, but he had Tebow.
He had Kyle Orton.
That's true too.
And he had Jay Cutler. Okay, that's who he had.
He has not had a guy with the talent that Andrew Luck has. So, I mean, that's just the biggest takeaway from the Josh McDaniels situation. I want to get into your thoughts on how the Malcolm Butler situation was handled. And I want to ask you, how much of this do you know? Like, how much of the Malcolm Butler story do you know?
Well, I know that he did not play a single snap in the Super Bowl, and he was supposed to start according to the pregame stuff. I later heard that he got caught with weed. In his hotel, and he'd broken curfew or something like that. And okay, so at first I was like, "What is Belichick doing? What are you doing?" That's basically what I was thinking. First off, he's the best corner on that team. Would you agree with that, Royce?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best cornerback on that team. Probably one of the better cornerbacks in the league.
Well, I mean, he's not the best anymore. He's a free agent.
You get my point.
And I get your point. After last year winning the Super Bowl, he is.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback on that.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the best cornerbacks in the league. Okay? And this has been said from coaches and receivers and other defensive backs alike. So he's a legit football player. And he sat him, and the guy who took his place did not play as well as he would have played. I mean, it's just the truth. Malcolm Butler can guard, top-level receivers.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that, I mean, in light of what happened, right? Like with the marijuana at the hotel facility or at the hotel. I mean, I don't think that I can't see that happening.
It didn't.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
He did not have weed.
He did not have weed.
Okay, then Belichick has.
So what happened? So the whole situation that occurred was he said he was meeting. He sent a tweet out after all these news outlets were saying that he had weed in his hotel. He was breaking curfew.
It was BS, right?
He had a bunch of women parties with women in his hotel room, and he was staying up really late. But the real story is the guy came late. He didn't arrive the first day. He was sick. And he came a day late. I think it was the day after media day. And so it was said he had a rough week of practice, which is understandable when you're under the weather.
It happens. It happens.
And you're also playing in Minnesota in negative degree weather.
Basically playing in the Arctic.
Exactly. And he said he had family in Minnesota that he was visiting at night. And he said he never broke curfew once. He didn't. He got back on time.
He did not have weed on him. Which I think is the biggest deal. Breaking curfew is not that big of a deal.
Here's the thing, and he didn't have weed on him, so he didn't.
Then he's fine.
So, and here's the whole part of this. The people saying that he had marijuana and the other transgressions that occurred were from media outlets. Bill Belichick never confirmed any of that. Bill Belichick's only response was, it was a coaching decision, that's it. And this guy,
he would have gotten fined if there was a weed issue.
Oh yeah,
he would have gotten fined.
He sent the tweet out. He's like, whoa, okay, I'm about to be a free agent. Don't be saying this about me because it's not true. I mean, to the point where you look at it, and with the tweet, he had most of the players on the team liked his tweet, including Tom Brady. So, and Tom Brady even said he's a great person, he's a great friend, and he's a great teammate. And now Malcolm Butler's going to another team.
Yes. Where
the people who are going to be signing his checks and going to propose the deal to him
will not be sitting him.
Are going to be asking, okay, give us the full story.
Yeah.
Give us the full story. He's going to get signed big money by a team.
Of course.
Not really, I wouldn't say big money, but he's going to get paid a lot by a team. But you got to think about this. Bill Belichick sat arguably the person that saved his job.
He saved Tom Brady's career.
Well, I know, but I'm saying in Super Bowl
first
49,
off, I don't even want to, and I'm not being a Brady hater here. I'm not trying to be, at least. That Super Bowl against the Seahawks, he should have lost. I mean, he got thrown a bone, to say the least, okay? And even Brady would probably admit that to you, in private.
Here's what I want to say.
He would have lost. They would have lost. Yeah, if they run the ball with Marshawn, they lose. And Brady's legacy is destroyed.
If they decide not to play Malcolm Butler on that play,
God knows what happens.
You're looking at the Seahawks as back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
The Broncos win the Super Bowl the next year, possibly. The Patriots are not in Super Bowl 51 against Atlanta because Bill Belichick's probably not coaching the team.
Oh, they don't fire him. No way.
Well, at that point, it was how many years? It was 2014. It was 2011 the last time they were in the Super Bowl.
The point is this: Brady would not be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Would Garoppolo be in San Francisco?
Yeah.
If Malcolm Butler does not play that play and they lose that Super Bowl,
I don't know, but I don't think this year or last year that Garoppolo would have started over Brady. But that's my personal opinion.
But that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, does he still on the team?
Would Brady be on the roster?
Yeah.
If they lose the Super Bowl, you don't think they go and trade him?
No, I don't think so.
Because I think the only reason Brady's on the roster right now.
We're starting to sound like some conspiracy theories.
No, it's not conspiracy. I mean, I'm just saying. Ultimately, the only reason I think Brady's on the roster right now is because and this is a whole other topic, but Belichick doesn't do this with players. Belichick usually trades them early rather than late.
Yes, it's true.
And if Brady lost that Super Bowl, or if they lost that Super Bowl, I don't think Brady's on that roster. I think he's traded away to another team, and Garoppolo's the starter of the team.
I can't see that happening. I mean, this is going to be... We're going to drag this out now that this came up. Now I got to give my part. I do not see that happening. I do not foresee that happening.
In a minute.
Because I just don't think it would have happened. I just think Brady would have lost another Super Bowl, which was becoming a trend for him. And I think you can now officially call it a trend. I think his legacy is greatly damaged. Malcolm Butler, isn't who we think he is right now, and God knows, maybe the Seahawks would have had a longer run. And I mean, it goes into a whole huge argument. On the next segment, I'll get into I'll get into my personal opinion on Bill Belichick's Bill Belichick, what he did during the Super Bowl, what he did wrong, basically, which will involve a lot of Malcolm Butler. So,
and we'll also cover the Jimmy Garoppolo extension that had just occurred today during the Philadelphia Eagles parade.
Extension.
Which I would argue overshadowed the parade a little bit when it broke because it was right in the middle of it. But
maybe.
We'll get in there.
All right.
We'll get in there in the next segment. Stay tuned.